Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. This is the Belgian Rye IPA, part 3 of 3. Thank God it's over. This is where we compared the pressure to the non-pressure fermentation, and we do the taste test to see if, it does it subdue the esters and phenols, or do they smell the same? I don't know, taste the same, I don't know. Before we get into that, this is Drew. It's my oldest son.
Hey.
He's legal, so he can taste test. Youngest, not so much, although he has bribed him in the past to help me do stuff with beer just so he didn't have to do it. Yeah, see how that works? Don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing. Definitely appreciate the support. I'm going to show you a quick video of just a little bit of the transfer so you see what happened, and then we're going to jump right back. Okay, I don't have dual roads. I can't afford to keep buying all kinds of crazy stuff, so we're going to talk into this, and hopefully everything sounds great and we're all good. I know glasses can be different, so I have 2 of the same. He has 2 of the same because I didn't have enough of all the same, clean and not unbroken. So we'll go from there. This is the taste testing, but before we jump into the taste testing, because I know a lot of you like to know the facts, and if you're not sure or if you need more facts, let me know. But just to go over the basics, okay? This is a specialty IPA, which technically would be either a Belgian IPA or a rye IPA. He knows.
Both.
He's both. I just put 2 together, and he knows the BJCP is a bunch of coloring books. Well, I like to color outside the lines a little.
Yep, as long as it's close enough.
I keep the majority in there. But hey, I brew what I want to drink, and luckily I have people who like what I brew and like to drink it too, so it works out really well. First of all, if we did a 75% total brew house efficiency, we would have had an original gravity of 1.063. Our final gravity, according to Beersmith, would have been 1.014. Yeah, and I'm leaving a link down below for Brewfather, but hey, it is what it is. The ABV would have been 6.5% ABV. Did I expect to hit the original gravity? Yes. Did I expect to go over it? I was hoping. Final gravity, was I expecting to hit 1.014? Actually, and you look in the previous videos, I thought I would hit 1.012, so I knew it was going to be a little higher. That was the Belgian Ardennes Weist Yeast 3522. So here are the differences, and I'm going to mention them before we do the taste test, just so you understand. But we had the no lift, where we didn't lift it at all, and we came out with an original gravity of 1.064. With the one that we did the lift, we had a 1.067, so slightly higher gravity. Now, the tilt, which I had calibrated and verified, sadly could only give me a 1.011 on the no lift because that was pressure fermented and it had carbonation. So I took some of it out, I shook it up until it just had no more bubbles left. And I did a physical hydrometer to be fair and make sure that I had the final gravity. The final gravity was 1.009. It was really close to 10, but I'm giving it a 9 because it was right in between. Then on the non-pressure fermented, we were at 1.067, a little higher. And our final gravity, yes, ready? 1.007. So no lift, pressure fermented, we were at 7.3% ABV. With the lift, which actually gave us a slightly higher original gravity, and a longer fermentation actually ended up at 1.007. And I'll explain why it did different. I have a theory there, which gave us 8% ABV. So I tried to keep the ABV down, and I still ended up around 8. But hey, Sunday, 8th of August, was when I took the original measurements. On Tuesday, the 10th, 2 days later, and it took almost a day before this stuff started kicking off, I noticed something right away. The Anvil Conical Fermenter, which is stainless steel, was averaging 1 to 2 degrees cooler because I room fermented it. I just put them right next to each other in this bottom floor, which usually sits around 71, 70 degrees, and let it ferment at room temp. So with the fermentation, it pumped it up. One was at 75 and had already gone down to 1.042, and that was the pressure fermented. The non-pressure was 1 degree cooler at that time and was 1.054. So we already started seeing something. One's going to ferment at a cooler temperature, which took longer, and one was going to ferment at a slightly warmer temperature and take less time. Now on Wednesday, we had dropped significantly on the pressure. We were down to 1.025, but our temp had jumped to 77. Well, on the Conical, I was at 75 and at 1.041. So it was taking a little longer. It was a little cooler. Another one was almost done. Tuesday, so exactly 1 week later, the pressure fermenter wasn't bubbling, there was no air leaking, and I let it sit for as long as I let the non-pressure, so I wasn't stopping fermentation. But it was done. and it was saying 1.011, even though I told you I did a physical and it was actually 1.009. So it says it's done and it's not doing anything. So I let it sit, no big deal. I then took the Conical and I actually set it up here to let it get up another degree or two. And it took another 10, it finished out actually on the 18th. So a day later, it was equal to the to the pressure. So non-pressure and pressure, one took 1 day extra. Then on the 28th, almost 10 days later, because I kept seeing bubbles on the Conical. So I'm like, it's really not done. It's just matched the same final gravity. It ended at 1.007 and it was done. That's the non-pressure Conical. So for some reason, at least for the Belgian Ardennes Weist yeast, it seems to ferment better at a lower temperature for a drier beer. If it gets a little warmer, it seems to taper out, or at least under pressure, it tapered out much sooner and just didn't ferment anymore. So it missed it by, it was a 0.002 difference in final gravity. The pressure was still sitting there. It could have fermented, but it was done. It was done. So I don't know if the pressure had to do with that or it was because it ran a degree or two hotter. I don't know. That's something we could test again in the future. Let's get on to the taste test though. I'm going to pour his first. I'm not telling him which one's pressure and which one's non-pressure. And I keep forgetting in my head, so I might have to double check. Okay, just keep them organized this way since they look the same. There's gelatin. I don't know if they're going to clarify. They probably will, give them another few days. I had to speed carbonate one, which of course was non-pressure. And the pressure one, I lost a little carbonation, so they're about the same. Okay, hold up your glasses so we can see them. They're all a little foggy. It just is what it is. So I don't know which one you want to start. Maybe we'll do opposite, and I guess head retention, it goes away pretty rapidly. So let's do this. To be fair, I'm going to let him start on the outside one. I'm going to start on the outside one because they're different. And then we'll compare. That way, you know, if I'm having some alcohol and I don't notice this one as much, it'll be more fair. So go ahead and let me know what you think. It's got a nice mild Belgian smell. The aromas are there. Flavor's there. It's a little sweet, just a tiny bit.
I mean, I kind of expect that from Belgian anyway, but
yeah, true.
The flavor's more pronounced than the actual smell is, but it's good. It smells very mild, but the flavor's good. It's pronounced, I think.
I smell some, I don't remember what malts I even put in here to have to look, but it smells kind of caramely. I definitely taste the rye.
Yeah.
The rye is kind of heavy, but it's good.
About the same as far as smell goes. It's very mild. Like you can tell it's a Belgian, but it's still, they're both mild. I feel like this is richer.
Tastes sweeter.
Yeah.
The right is the same and the left is the same for you and me. Now my problem is I got bubbles, so I can't tell if it's blocking part of the smell, and over here I've lost my bubbles already.
I think this is the higher ABV one. Or are they both 8? No, one of them's 7.3, right?
One's 7.3, one's 8.
I think this is the 8.
Which one do you smell the most, or do they smell the same?
This is kind of an alcohol smell. So, like if you breathe too deep on this one, it burns a little.
I just feel like this, I taste it sweeter.
I think I like this one more, the outside one.
I like the outside one better too. Okay. First, I'm going to give some credit where some credit's due. There's something going on. Dr. Hans may or may not be 100% right, but we don't notice a big ester difference or phenol difference. Seriously, I mean, I can't smell a difference. He doesn't know which one's which, and he can't smell a difference.
Yeah.
I know why he likes one over the other, and he doesn't realize why he likes one over the other.
Oh, is it sweeter because it's the higher alcohol one, or?
Yes. Okay. This has got a little more sweetness to it from not being as dry, but your taste buds perceive alcohol as sugar. So the more alcohol, the higher the sweetness by sugar. This tastes like a thicker than a thinner, and this is going to be a little drier, should we say? But the sugar is where the perception is.
I mean, this kind of it masks it pretty well.
And me and him like very dry drinks, not always, but he can handle some of the much higher ABV than I can. Like a quad, not my thing. Yeah, he's all good. This is the non-pressure. So this is at 8%. That would be your left.
So yeah, the one I like more.
I can't tell the aromas apart. Now, initially this had more aroma, and it's the pressure fermented, but this had a lot of foam. And as the foam is broken down, I can't tell a difference. I mean,
I didn't have any foam by the time I got to it.
They smell the same.
I think this one was a little bit different. I mean, this one, like I said, kind of had a, I don't know, a harshness a little bit to it. Very light.
Yeah, I didn't taste the harshness, but
it's not taste, just the smell.
Yeah, the taste to me though was a little more mouthfeel, and that might have been from
Like this, I get more of the flavor out of the scent of it. This one is like the scent is kind of over real quick.
Okay. So, and he's got a much better palate. He's much younger. The palate's not destroyed yet. They're both very drinkable. Although
I can drink either of these.
I prefer this one. But if this fermented down to 1.000, I'd been super happy. I love it crazy dry. I've done pear ciders that are super dry, and I mean, the drier the better as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not going to say it's my best beer yet. I don't know if it needs a little time to age or what the issue is, because the rye is a little thick on the mouth, or something that's got a little more mouthfeel than I was expecting. It's definitely not a raging itch from Flying Dog that I kind of compared to. I did use that biscuit honey malt, and that was something very different that I normally don't use in this. That could have added something to it. I'm not really sure, but as it's going to get a little bit of age on it, I mean, it just got carbonated. Now, of course, the pressure fermented one was carbonated, but the other one just got fermented, or just got carbonated, sorry. So kudos to Dr. Hans. There is something with the pressure fermentation that people are finding where they can pressure ferment lagers and reduce the off flavors. But like I said, yeasts don't know the difference between a good or a bad off flavor, so they have no bias or prejudice to say, I only want to eliminate these off flavors and I'm going to keep these. It doesn't know any better. So honestly, here's what I've learned from this one. First of all, pressure fermentation will help with carbonation early, so you can go straight to your keg and boom, you're rocking and rolling. Make sure your pressure's balanced. As you saw, I initially started to screw up and almost lost a lot of pressure. I have fixed that, not a big deal. But the Conical was a little lower, on average about 2 degrees lower for the majority of the time it fermented, because the stainless steel is a very good conductor of temperature, and it just stayed really cool. Well, the plastic, I don't know if it's, I'm assuming it's just less conductive, but it stayed warmer by almost 2 degrees, sitting right next to each other in the same exact location with no heater or AC directly on them, at the lowest point in the floor. I mean, just nice and cool area. So I have learned that if for temperature control, it's a little easier to keep the Conical a little cooler than it is maybe the plastic. And pressure fermentation obviously does not necessarily subdue esters and phenols like we believe, and maybe it does to some degree, but like I said, your mileage may vary. I'm definitely going to have to do more testing, more research on it. I will also say, which I didn't bore you with that video, but I cleaned the Conical. Wow, super easy. I mean, stupid easy. Literally, I wiped it out. I got that same black ring that Brian from Short Circuited Brewers mentioned that you will get usually twice. Cleaned that out, and it was very mild. Rinsed the whole thing out, did some PBW, did some Star Sand, and I could eat off of it. It's all great, no big deal. The plastic one for the pressure fermenter all-rounder is pretty easy to clean too. You just reach in, clean it. You got the little top to clean. It's not hard. I'm going to be getting away from any of my fermenters that have the small openings, including glass ones, just because two things. They're heavy I can't get my hand in there to clean it, which makes it a real pain in the butt.
Use like a drill for that.
Yeah, and I do. You've seen me. He's seen it. I have a drill with the little things on, and it's still hard to get the upper top areas. So, yeah, I mean, good beer. I was shocked. I was expecting a very flat aroma and almost no aroma, and and you can smell a little bit of hops. But the hops are mild in there. I'm not getting as much spice as I wanted. I definitely taste the spice, but I wanted the spice to be a little more overpowering. And that's something I didn't mention, but we have the fruit. There's fruit in there, a little bit of tropical. There's definitely the spice. The spice is mild, though.
Yeah, the flavor's all there.
It's just, there's not a big difference between them. And once they have a little more time, especially the one I speed carbonated to kind of, really get going, we'll be fine. But thank you again for joining us at Bitter Reality Brewing. Sorry if I broke anybody's hearts on telling you pressure fermentation may not subdue some of those esters, but kudos to Dr. Hans. He was correct, and I was kind of not expecting that because I'd heard so many people saying just the total opposite of what he said. Don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you.